Hello and welcome to Dickinson's Real Deal. On this show, I help members of the public to get the very best price for their antiques and valuables. You get a choice. Sit down with one of our regular dealers. They're going to tempt you with a cash offer on the table today.
Do you have a figure in mind that you want for it?
I do, but I'm not going to share it with you.
If I don't think that's enough money, I'm going to say to you, reject that offer. Have a gamble, live dangerously, go to auction. We may get you a little bit more money there.
400 bid at £400, 420. Any further bids now?
I shall be on hand at all times to help and advise you. Today the show comes to you from Oldham in Greater Manchester. A great crowd of people have turned up. They're determined to do business today. They want to sit down with our dealers. What are they going to do? Walk away with cash in their pockets or gamble and go to auction? I don't know. One thing I do know for sure, they want the real deal.
It's going to be a busy day, so let's start with seller Becky, who's brought David Halkney her grandfather's watch.
I'd really like round about £500 if possible, but we'll see what he offers.
I like it. That's all I'm going to say.
That was a bit of an evil laugh, David. Behave yourself.
Tell me something about this watch.
It belonged to my grandpa, and he used to work for the Clayton Nanoline company, which I think was in Clayton Bridge in Manchester.
Oh, yeah?
And it was presented to him in 1948 as a retirement gift.
Well, they had good taste, I'll say that. It's a very good make, and it's by IWC from Schaffhausen.
I've got two sons.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it isn't a label, a designer watch. They don't see the old-fashioned watches, so
I know, yeah.
hopefully someone else will appreciate it and give it a good home.
Yeah, let me have just look at this watch properly. It's a gold watch, and it's 18-karat gold. Got a nice, lovely clear dial on it. Dial's in lovely condition. A little tiny bit of marks on the top there. This strap's nothing to do with it, of course, you know that.
Yeah.
So probably it wants to be on a leather strap these days. That's how they like them. And it's a very good make. You know that.
Yes, I do. It's all inscribed on the back.
Yes, I see it is here, 1948 for 25 years service. Well, what a lovely present to give anybody.
Don't
Great
think you get
make.
that these days for
I don't
working
think you would.
25 years.
No, you're absolutely right. But it's a very nice watch. It does detract it, obviously, a little bit, you know, having the engraving on the back. But it's a lovely watch. I like it. Shall I get the dosh out and see if we can buy this off you? 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. Becky. You're not smiling. Keep going. 300.
No.
350.
No, not yet.
Aren't we? £400. Not a bad bid, you know that.
Is he trying to put you off with the damage that's there? A little bit of damage. Well, let me tell you, this man knows his watches, likes to buy and sell his watches, and I would suggest would like to buy this. So let me give you an indication of what the independent valuers and the auctioneers say. They say 250 to 3, 3 to 4. £400 is a very good offer. I think that's worth considering, but I think it's worth a little bit more. So I'm going to leave you in the hands of David and see if he pushes a little bit more. This is the man. He likes a watch.
OK.
You've brought it to the right person, Becky. I don't want you to take this to auction. I'll keep to the big ones.
OK.
4.5. What do you think, Becky?
You know, just put a little bit more.
There's a bit more. 460.
You wouldn't change that for a big one?
No, I wouldn't. I think that's a really good bid. I do, Becky.
OK.
Have I had a deal?
Yeah.
Good lads. Thank you, Becky. Thanks for bringing it.
That's very nearly the £500 you wanted.
Absolutely brilliant. I think my dad will be really pleased that it's gone to a good home.
Across the den, Barbara's brought some ivory to Debbie Serple.
I really wouldn't like to take less than £300, but we'll see what I get offered.
Quite an exciting thing for me to look at and potentially buy. We'll see how it goes. Tell me all about this.
Well, all I know about it is I think it's Japanese, and it was my dad's, and my dad passed away, and my mum's wanting to get rid of a few things, and this is one of the things that she's wanting to get rid of.
OK, so Mum's decided she's happy to, and you've been sent with it today, have you? Do you know how your father came to own it?
He collected lots and lots and lots of things, and if he liked it, he bought it.
So you remember it as a child?
Yes.
Well, I agree with you that it's Japanese, and it's definitely 19th century, so I'm happy that we're not dealing with ivory that's questionable, because as you know, you can't trade in modern ivory.
Yeah.
It's a complete no-no. Quite clearly, it's been carved. You can almost, if you half shut your eyes, see the shape of the tusk. Because it's just been carved in one piece.
Right.
It might be that the base has been fitted on underneath as a prop, but I think this is all one piece of carving. And underneath it's signed, which is always a good thing. You've got the signature in red here, and without me doing a bit more research, I wouldn't be able to say very much more, except that it's nice to have a signature there. And it's a funny figure. Looks like a little boy holding aloft the severed head of someone in a bag. Did that not intrigue you when you were young?
No, not really.
You never really thought about it?
I hadn't, no.
Again, it's highly likely that there's some fable or story that's related to the reason behind which it was carved. But again, without me doing that, we'll never know.
Right.
So I'm going to make an offer for it and see how we get on.
No problem.
Okay. 50. 100. 150. 200. £250.
I think I'd like a little bit more than that.
A little bit more.
I would,
A little bit more or a lot more?
A lot more.
A lot more.
It depends what a lot is. I think.
You've got to bear in mind that to have 250 in your hand, you're going to have to sell it closer to the 300 mark at auction.
Yeah.
Are you quite confident that that's going to happen?
Yeah. I think it would.
Would 270 buy it?
Just a little bit more.
A little bit more. Yes. I'll go one more.
Right.
280, and that'll be my final offer.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Barbara?
I think I'll take it. Thank you.
You'll take it?
I will.
We've
Thank
got
you
a
very
deal?
much. Thank you.
Fantastic.
£280 going back to my mum, and hopefully I'll get split between her 3 daughters.
I got a bit carried away, but I actually think there's a bit of profit to be made in that. I'm quite happy to be the owner of it.
Just how much profit? We'll find out later. Now, is Corrie Jeffrey feeling generous about Stephen's painting?
I didn't have any idea how much the painting was worth until recently when I did some research on the internet. I'm looking for over £100.
Now, you're going to tell me all about this painting?
I can tell you as much as I know, yes. Yes. I believe the painter is Heinrich Oester Schmidt, who I was told was a Dutch painter, and after doing some research a couple of years ago, turned out to be German.
Yes, I can understand it's German, but because it looks like anywhere from the Belgian coastline all the way to southern Germany. It could be any farm, could be in France, could even be in England with the little red roof and the barn. And it's competent, isn't it? It's well painted.
It's a nice picture. It's a shame it's got a bit dark. It has been in my loft for 15 years, but when I first saw it, it was lovely and bright, especially the cloud detail, really nice.
You've got the hay coming in, and the stand of trees, very pleasant, very competent, but nothing extra. There's nothing in that picture that, you know,
that
really...
grabs you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
Nothing
understand.
that absolutely grabs me. But well painted, and I would have said 1870 to 1910, somewhere around that date.
Someone suggested around 1920.
So
yeah,
later,
we're not
a
far
bit
off.
later.
Yeah, a little bit later, maybe.
Do you like it?
I think it's quite nice, actually. I don't like it in its present condition.
How come it's been in your loft?
Because my mum moved to Spain. and couldn't take everything with her, so she asked me and my sister to look after a few things for her. This was one of them, and I didn't have the room at the time, so it just ended up in the loft.
So we're going to put some money on the table.
Okay.
And you know what you want for it, you have a rough idea. I'm going to put down 20, 40, put down £50. See how you feel about that.
You're way off the mark at the moment.
Am I way off the mark? I'm going to put down 60, 70, £80. And I sort of want to stay under the 100. So I'm there. £80 is on the table.
A little bit more I'd be looking for.
I'd like to sell it for under 100. I don't see it going over the 100.
I think it would, to be fair. I think it would.
You pushing me?
I am pushing you,
You are
yeah.
pushing me,
I've got a figure in my
aren't
head. My mum actually said to me when I spoke to her a couple of days ago, if you get that for it, I'm
Take
happy.
the money.
Take the money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to put the 90 down.
Okay.
And I'm stopping.
And you're stopping.
I'm stopping
Okay.
there.
Well, prior to you putting that down, you put 80 down.
Yeah.
My mum said 100, and I would have said to you, if you call it 90, we'll split the difference, and I'm happy at that.
So we have a deal.
We certainly do. Thanks very much, Corrie.
£90, I'm happy. It wasn't a bargain. It's not a bargain. But I think the picture's got potential.
But were you pushed a bit too far on the price? We'll find out later. Also coming up, Debbie asks for help.
You will tell me if I give you far too much, though, won't you?
No, definitely not.
Welcome back to Dickinson's Real Deal.
There are lots of things for our dealers to buy, and Sally has brought James Lade something more unusual than most.
I've had the headdress about 20 years and I know roughly what they're worth, so I'm looking forward to what he comes up with.
Well, tell me what you brought along.
Right, it's an African tribal wedding headdress to be worn over the head with the side pieces they hang down,
Yeah.
and specifically for weddings. I've been told it's from South Africa, but today it's been debatable and it might be North African, so I'm hoping that you could tell me a little bit more about it.
Well, I have to say it looks North African to me. Because of the way these beads with the sort of swellings in the middle and the bands on the outside look to me to be like kind of Moroccan stuff that I've seen before. I wouldn't be 100% certain. It's presumably silver. It looks like silver.
It is silver.
Okay. How do they fix it to the hair? That's what I want to know.
It would pin through the hair,
Oh, I see.
and with it
In the
being
middle.
afro hair, it would stay.
Yeah. Yeah. And how did you get it?
I was given it as a present by an ex-boyfriend's mother.
Yeah.
I had my room decorated very African or themed,
Yeah.
and she thought it'd be nice to go with it. So it was just a gift.
Do you know how old it is, where it came from?
I've had it approximately 15 years, but before that, I've no idea.
I don't know. I think these things are fantastically difficult to date, but my feeling is that it isn't terribly old.
Right.
I think it's probably not more than, I don't know, perhaps 30, 40 years old, that sort of thing.
Right.
I mean, these little things, the little finials, sort of could be any age, but I think when you start looking at this is manufactured chain, not handmade.
Yes.
What's it worth? Any idea what your ex-nearly mother-in-law paid for it?
I think she paid about £5 for it.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been much more.
No. And have you gone off African things, or do you still like African
I
stuff?
still like them, and it appeals to me. It's lovely. But I think at the moment, with having twins, I'd like the money.
I bet you would, yes. You probably like it a lot more than I might offer you for it.
Yes, probably, yeah.
OK, well, it's a decorative thing. So, 20, £40.
No.
I haven't even got my hand out of my pocket. We'll put another one down. £60.
No, not at all.
No.
No.
You're very determined.
Yeah.
Do you have a figure in mind that you want for it?
I do, but I'm not going to share it with you.
I didn't think you would. I wouldn't even have asked you.
Yeah.
OK. £70.
No.
I'll try you one more. See if we can be tempted. 75.
No. I wouldn't accept
No,
it.
you wouldn't.
No.
You've had enough of that. Well, look,
Yeah.
David's on his way. He's going to give you some advice.
Well,
I've seen lots of similar things to these. Nomadic tribes, the girls like to wear these silver chains as headdresses round the neck. They sometimes have coins, their dowries, their wealth on them. 90 to 130, 100 to 150 is the estimation.
Yeah.
But I would think it's worth 100 quid. And I think quite modest at that, because the silver is quite a good content. So I'm going to say that's a bit on the low side and probably is worth gambling at auction. You'll probably get a bit more than that, unless James is thinking of perhaps dangling it round his neck. You never know.
Trouble is, it would clash with my gold medallions, you see. Look, I honestly think, as David said, you might be better off going to auction.
Right.
Having a day out.
Yeah.
So,
that's lovely.
Good luck.
Well, thank you very much.
I hope it does do well. Thanks for bringing it.
David persuaded Sally there could be more cash at the auction, so let's find out. She can't make it to the sale, so it's all down to auctioneer Max Blackmore and the Duke.
On the dealer's day, Sally brought along, I think, a rather interesting white metal headdress. Now, when I say white metal, in this particular case, I would say it's probably silver. Sally turned down 75. Is it going to sell? The reserve is 90. Let's see what happens.
It's a rather unusual headdress here with the double woven chain and the tassels. What should we do? Start it at 120? Start me at 120. Start me possibly at 100 then.
They're asking for 100.
It is an unusual item. Start me at 60 then. 60 pounds. 60 bid at 60 pounds.
They've got 60. 60 in the front here, 65.
70, 75, 75, at 80, at 85, at 90, at 90 pounds.
85, 90.
Third row commissions are out. The internet's out. It's 90 pounds in the third row, all done.
The gavel has gone down at £90 right on the reserve. Take off the commission, and that leaves £74. And that's the amount that I'll be sending on to Sally.
The gamble almost paid off. Only £1 in it. You win some, you lose some, Sally. Back in the den, a large bear has landed on Corrie's table.
I like bears. I actually really like stuffed toys. So yeah, would I like to buy it? Yes, I would. Surely out of nostalgia. Hi, Sue.
How do you do?
I'm Corrie, and he's... What's
David.
his name? He's David.
David.
But why is he David?
Because he looks like a David.
A King David.
David Bowie?
A David Bowie.
Yeah.
He's a rock and roll star, is he?
Yeah.
And he's yours?
Yes, I got it given to me.
When did you get it given to you?
1975. It was a friend of mine who was a lot older than me, and she gave it me when she left her house.
And you've had him ever since?
I've had him ever since.
Where does he sit?
Well, he's been at Loft for the last 20 years.
Oh, so he's been hidden away?
He has.
Well, first I'm going to give him a good squeeze.
Yes.
Because he's straw-filled.
Yes.
And he's mohair. And I'm going to just have a look at his face. He's looking really cross. So let's turn him round. And he's nice because he's socketed, so he's moving. His head and his arms all move. So what he was a very expensive bear of his day.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's English, but I'm not sure. And there's no label on him, is there?
No.
I think he's late 1950s, early 60s. And he's nicely made, in nice condition. And as you know, some of these bears are very valuable.
Yes.
But the valuable bears are pre-First World War. They're, from 1910 to early 1920s. Yeah. This date, which would be my childhood, doesn't have a great value.
Right.
Do you like him? Do you think he's a nice bear?
He is a nice bear, yeah. He's a cuddly bear.
He's a cuddly bear. And that's his value.
Yeah.
There's no antique value to him at all.
Yeah.
Just
yes, I understand.
The appeal that he has.
He growls as well.
Oh, does he?
Oh, yes.
Well, let's have a go.
When you push him back.
That's a nice growl, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a dog.
He's a cuddly little creature, David.
Yeah.
Right. Let's put him safely there. He's not going to fall over. And I'm going to put some money on the table.
Right.
And see how you feel.
Right.
Okay. 20, 40 on the table. Ooh, that was a downturn.
Yes, it was.
I don't see him at an awful lot more. I've got 60 on the table.
A bit more.
bit more. She says a bit
Is
more.
he your
David.
teddy bear?
Well, he was, yeah.
How long have you had him?
I've had him since 75.
Right. 60 to 90 pounds is the estimation. It's not a bad offer at 60 quid. Perhaps he's worth another tenner, but if you couldn't get it, I wouldn't push it to the auction because I don't think he'll bring any more money there.
Right. Is there any chance of a bit more?
No, I think I'm really there at the 60. I'm
Right,
sorry.
we've got a deal then.
We've got a deal
All
then.
right.
Thank you very much.
Some things are not easy to let go of, but there comes a time when they just have to go. Now, Mavis is tempting Debbie with some precious metal.
I brought a sovereign and I'd like to get up to about 300 if possible. But being as it's a lady, I can't flash my eyes at her, so I don't know what other tactic I can use.
Mavis, tell me the history behind your sovereign you brought in today.
It was a gift from my ex-husband's uncle,
Right.
who moved from England to Australia.
What you've got here is a full sovereign, and we know that it's 22 carat gold.
Oh, lovely.
And we also know its exact weight, which is 7.98 grams.
Is that good?
It's very good, yes.
good.
I've checked it on my scales, and what we've got here, Mavis, is a 22 carat gold sovereign, which is set in a 9 carat gold setting.
Right.
Now, I'll have a quick look at it with my eyeglass. The 9 carat is marked, so the setting is marked. And what's really nice is where the claws hold your sovereign in place, they've not been soldered. So it is possible to take the coin out without it having been damaged. So from a coin point of view, it's worth something as well. When people solder sovereigns into their mount, then it spoils the coin. Now also the maths is easy, because we know it's 7.98 grams. When we drop the whole thing onto scales, I know that there's just under 2 grams of 9 carat gold around the outside, which is also worth some money.
Right.
So I'm very happy to buy it if you're happy to sell it.
Yeah, if the offer's good.
Okay, all right, so we get some money on the table then.
All right.
You will tell me if I give you far too much though, won't you?
No, definitely not.
Right. 50. 100.
They're nice and crisp as well.
Aren't they? Aren't they?
Yeah.
That's enough, isn't it?
Not really, no. No.
150. £200.
It's a nice offer, but no, if you could do a little bit more for me, please.
A little bit more. 220, Mavis.
I'm just going to stop you there, Mavis, just before you give an answer, a yes or a no. The estimation from both the auctioneer and the independent valuers is something like 240, 260.
Right.
But it's actually worth £280 in scrap. Now, you've got £220 on the table there at the moment. I think it's worth a little bit more, but we have to consider that Debbie, our dealer, has to make a profit. I'm going to say Debbie's a nice lady. She's very generous. I'm hoping she will give you a little bit more, and then I would consider it a fair price.
Thank you.
That was excellent advice, and I'm happy to put a little bit more down on the table, Mavis.
Oh, thank you.
So if I put another 10, so that makes it 230. How do you feel about that? We got ourselves a deal?
Could you got to make it 250, and then I will say yes, you can.
I'm not going to put 250 down. I'll give you another 10. If we make it 240, Mavis, are you happy with that deal?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So we
It's
shake on
yours.
it? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to spend the money on my holiday at the Costa del Sol.
Keep smiling, Mavis, and bon voyage. Coming up, things hot up in the den.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a couple of Bobby Dazzlers on there, isn't there?
The people of Oldham are filling the den, waiting to see our dealers. And next with Corrie is Pauline, who's brought a modern painting.
It was a present for my sister, and she got it from a jumble sale, and she paid 20 pence for it. I will push Corrie as far as I can push her.
Sounds like an amazing find, but let's wait and see.
This is your picture?
It is mine, yes.
And it's by Bernard
Dufour.
Dufour. So going to tell me about him, because I do not know anything about this artist.
He's French.
Yeah.
He was born in 1922. He's still alive. He is well known. He first exhibited in 1948. This picture, I assume, is a 1970s picture. And he does a lot of erotic pictures. And this one is acrylic on board.
Well, looking at the style of it, I would have agreed with you.
Yes.
1970s.
Yeah.
And do you like it?
I like it, but I've got 2 young kids. Hence the reason I'm selling it, because of the saucy nature.
And very much of its time.
Yes.
The hairstyle, the pose.
Yes.
Very, very smart. And it's kind of, to me, designery, fashion.
Yes.
As opposed to fine art. Now, what I don't know is his value. I haven't a clue.
Okay.
You're not going to give me a hint as to how much he sells for, are you?
Not at this moment.
Okay, right. I'm going to put £50 on the table.
No way.
That's a tester. I
Oh,
haven't
it's
a
a
clue.
tester.
That's a tester.
No way.
I think we've got some help coming in here, and I need it.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a couple of Bobby Dazzlers on there, isn't there? The artist still alive today, very glamorous, a little bit sexy, a little bit erotic, I suppose. I think it's a nice image, a good image. Independents say 100 to 150, 80 to 120, in that kind of range. So I'm going to say worth more than that. Unless we get more, it's worth a gamble. Take it to auction. There might be a couple of likely lads who think, get those in the house, they're worth buying.
Thank you, David.
I have to agree with David, but I don't have a customer for this. It's not my kind of thing. So I'm going to stick with my offer of 50 and leave it up to you. You could do a lot better at auction, but that's my offer.
Okay. Based on the information I've got, I wouldn't deal. I will take it to the auction.
And I wish you the best of luck at auction.
Thank you, Corrie.
£50.
Let's see how many likely lads take a shine to David's Bobby Dazzlers.
Against you on the next.
Pauline can't make it today, so I'm looking after her interest. She turned down £50. When you consider her sister only paid 20p for it in a jumble sale, £50 wasn't a bad return, but she said, no, I want to gamble and send it to the auction. Now, what's it going to bring?
Start me at £100 for this one. Start me somewhere, 60 if you like. No interest at 60? 50 then if you like, at £50. Any interest at...
Is the gamble paying off? They're calling for
Start at
50.
£40 then, £40. Any further bids? 45 now, in the room at £45, at 45 at 50, at 55.
It's now
60.
at 50, 55, 60.
65, at £65. We're in the room at £65. Any further bids now?
So the gamble has just gone down at £65. There is some commission to take off. I make that just over £53. I think Pauline will be pleased. On the day she turned down £50 from our dealer Corrie, and I'm sending £53 on to Pauline for an acrylic picture that cost 20p from a jumble sale. That was a good deal, wasn't it?
Dave, hello.
Back in the den, Dave has brought a watch barometer to show James.
It's an interesting looking thing. I like it. I'd like to buy it.
You sound very keen, but will you play fair?
So this is a very interesting thing, isn't it? Well, you know that. So I deal quite a lot in pocket barometers. And I have to say that in 30-odd years, I've never seen a combination of a barometer and a watch. I mean, I think the date of it is probably around about 1910.
Is it?
Just before the First World War, I should think.
Yeah.
The barometer scale is around the outside, and that's the barometer needle, and the clock on the inside. I see it says on here Swiss made, and obviously made for the English market because the graduations are in English.
Yeah.
And it says watch barometer patent. done here. So someone has bothered to patent this combination of watch and barometer. And it's ticking as well, which is a good sign. So it's in working order. I wish it was a silver case. That would be really, really nice if it was a silver case, but this is nickel plated.
Nickel plate.
Yeah. And I see you've bashed it and broken the glass, which is a shame, because otherwise, you know, it's in good condition. What's the history of it?
I don't really know a great deal about it. I know it was my father's and where he got it from.
Did your father use it?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah. Because these
he was always keen on. He always kept records of the weather and all
he
that
did.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
But these were often used. Pocket barometers were used by surveyors and mountaineers. I mean, it's a useful combination if you're walking in mountains or mountain climbing or surveying or whatever.
Yeah.
So shall we put some money on the table and see how we go?
We'll give it a whirl.
Give it a whirl. I'd like to offer you 50, 100, 150, £200.
No.
You've got an idea then, haven't you?
I've got an idea.
In the back of your mind. Here's David.
Keep going.
How much has he put on the table so far?
200.
Okay. Well, first of all, we've come to the right dealer. We've come to a dealer with great experience, a dealer that knows instruments, a dealer that knows unusual instruments. Independent values, they vary. They say 250 to 350, 3 to 4, and one says 4 to 5. So I'm going to say, good start, James, but we need a little bit more. We need it to hot up in the dealer's day, or we're going off to the sale room.
Okay, so we'll try and do better.
We'll do better.
So 200 on the table. We'll put another 50, another 100 on. So that's 300.
Still not looking very good, is it?
Still not looking good. I'm not going to go a huge amount more, Dave. 320 and another one of those. 340, which means that you'd have to make exactly 400, I suppose, in the sale for you to get that back. And I sort of feel that's kind of where I see it.
A little bit more? Pushing you now.
You're really, really pushing me. You are, aren't you? Okay, if I take those two away, and I put another one of those down, so that's 350. And I think that's my limit on the fact that it's a nickel case and not a silver case.
I think I'm not really a gambling man, so I think we'll take that.
Okay, very good. We've got a deal.
Very much.
Thanks very much for bringing it along.
Look it up. Cheers.
I'm sure there's a profit in it. I think I've got a victim in mind. 50 quid coming my way.
We'll find out if your victim succumbed later. After the break, with 36 pieces of silver on the table, David Haytner's cash gets a cool reception.
Still not enough. We're going in the right direction.
Welcome back to Dickinson's Real Deal.
There's time for one more deal, with two Davids at the table, and neither of them is the Duke.
This is an interesting lot of flatware, silver flatware, but it's been very badly handled in its life. There's one or two interesting pieces I'm going to have a go at buying it.
I think some of it's quite desirable, and obviously I want to get the best possible price for my friend, because it's part of his late mother's estate, so fingers crossed, hopefully they'll get the real deal.
That's what we're all here for, David.
Well, you've brought some flatware silver in here.
Yes.
Tell me something about it.
Some of it's Irish, Georgian, some Victorian, and we've got some English with the London hallmarks.
Yes.
But I think some of the pieces are quite desirable as well.
One or two pieces are, but they've been handled very, very badly in their lives. I mean, look at these spoons here. And somebody's cleaned them with something very abrasive, either some wire wool or something like that. I mean, they can be put right again, but it costs money, you know. There's need a lot of time spending on these to make them look
yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Some of it is worn but through use.
Anyway, there's one or two interesting things here, especially these. I like these. These are Irish silver, so they're a good seller.
Yes.
These little ladles here are a good seller. Pairs of ladles, for me, are always quite desirable. And There's a fair bit of weight here, I presume.
There's quite a fair weight, yeah. I think the mustard pot's interesting. I know there's no liner for it.
Well, that's it. I was just looking at that. There's no liner. It's 30, 40 pounds to get a liner made for it. And to be quite honest, I'd only get 30, 40 pounds for that on its own, David. But it's a nice little mustard pot, I've got to say. It's nicely hallmarked here. It's an interesting lot. I like it, even though it's wants a bit of attention.
OK.
So I'll get some dosh out here, shall I? And
yes, I'd be pleased to see what you can
get you sorted out here. £50, £100, £150, £200, £250, £300. Is that an interest?
I'd say that's a little bit light, to be honest with you. It's, let's say, it probably scraps a lot more than what's on the table.
OK. Let's make it more exciting then. £350, £400, £450, £500.
Still not enough. We're going in the right direction, but I think it's still...
We'll keep it to the big ones here. £550, £600. Must be warming up now, David, aren't we?
Slightly. I'm getting a little bit warmer, but we're still quite short, I would say.
£650, £700.
No, I still think there's room for improvement on that, really.
£750, £800. 56 ounces or thereabouts of silver.
I still think it's not enough, but considering that you could split one or two pieces off and sell them individually.
£850, £900. I'm getting about there now, David, I think. Keeps going up and down, you know, the silver price.
It does, but it can go up as well as down, so you've got to take that into consideration. I realise that you need to make a profit yourself.
Well, I was hoping to get a profit, yeah, for a change.
But I still think there's a little bit of room left in there.
Well, I'm going to say, final bid would be £950, and I think that's where I'd want to be, David.
£950.
I think it's not a bad bid.
It's not a bad bid. Just a little bit more would seal the deal for me.
Well, a little bit more for me would be another tenner. Sounds a bit mean, but I'm sort of like, I don't know, something out of this deal.
I was thinking of an extra £30 altogether. I think £980.
I'll give another tenner and that would be me done. I'm going to put the money down here. You can have a think.
Well, for the sake of £10, I think £970 is a fair deal.
I think it's a good deal. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for the deal.
I'm delighted. I think my friend will be really pleased with the amount of money I've got for him, and hopefully we'll be able to celebrate with him.
We hope your friend is pleased too. Well done for sticking to your guns. What a great deal. The dealers have spent over £2,000 of their own money. But have they made a profit?
How did you do?
It was swings and roundabouts for Corrie.
He's a cuddly little creature, David.
She paid £60 for David the bear and sold him on at an antiques fair for £80. She was less keen to own Stephen's painting.
Very pleasant, very competent, but nothing extra.
And the lack of that extra something made her a small loss. Debbie was very happy to buy the Japanese figure for £280 and sold it for £300. She took a longer view on the gold sovereign, keeping it as a nest egg, but she made £15 by melting them out. David threw the silver in the melting pot too, but he had to pay £970.
Just a little bit more would seal the deal for me.
Which meant there was only room for a small profit. But he did better on the wristwatch. He paid £460 and made nearly 10%. James boasted that he knew who would buy the Barometer watch.
I think I've got a victim in mind. 50 quid coming my way.
After paying £350, he found a different victim and doubled his expected profit, proving himself the day's most successful dealer.
What an exciting day. Lots of action, lots of buying and selling. That's what I love to see. Don't forget to join me, David Dickinson, next time for Dickinson's Real Deal. TTFN, ta-ta for now.